The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
Shalom, this is Mary Omni from the World Government House of King David, Holy Covenant Constitutional Enforcer. This is a Republic notice. Orly Tates is illegitimate along with Michelle Bach, and most of the birthers are illegitimate. Now what they're practicing in this questioning and this insistence on demanding President Obama birth certificate, demanding whether or not he was born in Kenya in America, demanding and this keep pushing and pushing. What they are demanding is that the Constitution comes under their white anal contract. They're whites, and they figure like just because they contract with the U.S. corporate mule that don't have one amendment, and because they are in 10 centimeters of the anus of the mule that identifies them as immigrants of debt theft and consent to debt theft, they think they can then somehow skip from that mule anus of 1871 and then have authority over constitutional property that don't have nothing to do with them. Non-consented constitutional property since 1870 sealing of the 15th Amendment New Jerusalem Wall, 15th vote of non-consent jurisdiction supremacy, called the 15th Amendment. The First Lady, Michelle Obama, is the 14th Amendment. She is married to President Obama. They have children. Therefore, President Obama's blood is in the Constitution. He's the 44th president, adopted son of the Most High, falling under Galatians 4:4, the law of the woman. Okay? Now, these scoffers who's been scoffing ever since President Obama took office. They were scoffing before, they were scoffing all through his first term, they were scoffing all through his second term. They are identifying themselves as illegitimate. They are identifying themselves as illegitimate. The reason why is because they think that they should be somehow respected, but yet they don't respect that First Lady Michelle Obama is a constitutional citizen. And if her constitutional citizenship, Michelle Obama, since 1868, sealed and non-consented in the constitutional republic, don't mean nothing to you and cannot put President Obama blood in the Constitution, then you coming later on, years later, contracting with the U.S. corporate mule, really mean that you're saying you know you have no legitimacy. Because if you keep on acting like Michelle Obama has no constitutional authority or legitimacy as the wife of President Obama, and thereby putting President Obama in the blood in the Constitution with their children they share in common, if you somehow feel as though you can overlook, it's because you know you don't have no contractual legitimacy yourself. See, because anytime you think you can overlook someone else's constitutionality, you thereby consent, you know your contract means nothing. Because if the Constitution means nothing that holds Michelle Obama, that had children by President Obama, then that's you expressing that you know that you're just a dung contractor with the mule dung that was set up in 1871 to net people like Orly Tates, who come here with this heavy tongue in some throne of tyranny, thinking she has authority just because has been told by Satan, you can come here with the permission of the banksters, the Catholics, and whoever else wants you here, and you can practice your white supremacy and tyranny just by being part of the anal dung contracting of incorporate doctrines where you consent to debt theft. Consent to debt and theft and no rights by fighting the Constitution. Because when you fight President Obama, you fighting the Constitution. And you're saying you understand you have no constitutionality yourself. Yes, President Obama is constitutional because Michelle Obama is constitutional. And so is Michelle's mother, Marion Robinson. And they've been constitutional, non-consented citizens since 1868, protected by constitutional Supreme Contract Fort Knox and sealed with the New Jerusalem Wall of the 15th Amendment. As 3/5 couldn't consent, so they inherited the 14th. As Dred Scott case upholds, Dred Scott had no legal rights. That meant no legal rights to consent. Therefore, all their constitutionality, legality was inherited and sealed as non-consented, which means the 14th Amendment been non-consented to you, Orly Tates, Michelle Bachmann, and all the other ones since 1868. You have a naturalized ceremony about mule dung contracting under the U.S. corporate mule. Okay? You have mule dung contracting natural ceremonies because you're naturally the anus. You're naturally the anus contractor that you declare you are when you think you can come up against the Constitution and you have some supremacy over Michelle Obama. What a joke you are. Thinking you can come above Michelle Obama, the First Lady, and her mother, Marion Robinson, just because you open your mule dung contracting mouth of a mule ceremony of some kind of naturalization. Like you're going to impose yourself on the Constitution that's been sealed since 1870, okay, with non-consent jurisdiction. So therefore, King Yahshua rode in on a mule in 1871 and set up a trap for you, Orly Tates, when you come here with your heavy tongue of your satanic-driven father telling you you have more rights than Michelle Obama. You want to call her husband illegitimate. You're talking about this constitutional citizen woman husband. You're going to call her husband illegitimate like you somehow above her because you came here with your heavy tongue and white skin and wanted to come here to assist banksters and gangsters in embezzlement. But meanwhile, all you can't get past are U.S. corporate mule. So all you is an anus contractor. That means an American non-consented united squatter. All you do is unite with a whole bunch of consenters of incorporate doctrine to squad, to steal, to practice tyranny, claiming that you some kind of do-gooder trying to protect something that has nothing to do with you. Your anal movement out of the mule's anus have nothing to do with our constitutional American republic. As a matter of fact, the American Constitution is American non-consenters. They non-consent you. So therefore, all you is an American non-consented united squatter of consent to debt, theft, and larceny and embezzlement in your dental practice, in your lawyer, in your bar association lawyership that tries to bar the Constitution. You know, your contracts are dumb. You have no contract higher than Michelle Obama. You have no contract higher than Michelle Obama. How much satanic piss you drunk on, Orly Tates? How much satanic piss you drunk on, Michelle Bachmann? How much satanic piss are you immigrants of the Catholic pedophile cult coming to America talking about you can override the constitutional citizen and tell her husband is illegitimate, disrespecting the First Lady and her and the first grandmother of the White House we built with our hands. Our hands built 1600, and our 40 acres is under it, okay? 1,600 square rooted is 40 acres. Our 40 acres is part of that 10-mile radius, okay? We own the 10-mile radius. All you can ever be is part of our mule, U.S. corporate mule. All you can ever be is part of the anus, because you don't own nothing of the 10-mile radius, and 10-mile radius don't have one amendment. So who you think you is to come in here and think you can jump out and call a constitutional citizen husband illegitimate just because you come here with a heavy tongue and in white skin and on Satan's energy phallus, dung contracting, and you come and trying to feed off of these anal contracted hijacked senators and governors and all this stuff in white majority, and you think just your white skin makes up law because they done gave you a stolen education and a stolen supposed to be license. Well, your license is nullified because you dumb as F. You dumb as F. Because you sitting up here thinking you can call Michelle Obama husband illegitimate with saying you know you have no constitutionality. Because if you calling the Constitution illegitimate, then you declaring you know you are illegitimate because you have no contracts, whatever you got, that can supreme our Constitution. So if what Michelle married is illegitimate, then you declaring you are the highest form of illegitimacy, wormwood in this country. Okay? And that goes for Michelle Bachmann. I don't know why you gave up your Swiss citizenship, because all you getting here is anus, mule, dung, debt, and theft contracts. All your contracts is nothing but dung and debt. Dung and debt. Dung and debt of banksters, gangsters. You're nothing but debt vessels. We have no debt in our Constitution. Therefore, our Constitution have nothing to do with you. Our Constitution holds non-consent. That means non-consent to any debt or theft, or non-consent to you, Early Tate, or Michelle Bachmann of the other birthers. You know, you have nothing that can supreme Michelle Obama contract. And you come trying to fight her with the mule that don't have one amendment, and all you got is a little corner, a speckle of the anus to crap you out as a dung contractor of debt and theft and embezzlement of your education, and everything you got, Orly Taste, is nothing but stolen. Right now, your daddy got your back for a minute, and you can hold on to your little fiat money, but you destitutely, contractually poor. Did your lawyer teach you that at the Bar Association? Did your lawyer teach you that U.S. corporation don't have one amendment, so you don't have no rights except a right to consent to debt and theft of constitutional property, thereby declaring everything you have is owned constitutionally? And then you sitting up here indicting yourself when you talking about you have more authority to call a constitutional citizen illegitimate than the constitutional citizens themselves, which saying that you know that you have nothing but some anal, dung, air, and Satan phallus sucking to hold on to. Well, Satan is pulling the pacifier out of your mouth. Out of your mouth, okay? So he's going to come to collect people like you and Michelle Bachmann. You know, with your phony degrees and your phony education and your phony bar association, your phony senatorships, and your supposedly so-called American citizenship. It's funny how a lot of the Catholics imported you here, then told you to climb on a black baby 14th non-consented rights. It's funny how the banksters invited you here, then told you to climb on a black baby's 14th non-consented rights. Yeah, they sure gave you a bill of goods, honey, and a bill of goods for you to become Satan, anus, debt vessels. And that's all you are. And you are crapped out of the mule because the mule don't even want you. It craps you out into a Tower of Babel going to hell. And that's all you doing, Orly Tate and Michelle Bachmann and the birthers, is babbling out the Tower of Babel dung out of your mouth and declare and indicting yourself as embezzlers and thieves and dung greasers for Satan and systematic oppression of God's holy people and trampling the holy covenant. You'll keep the holy covenant out of your mouth because you have nothing to do with it. You're not even part of our mule. All you do is corner the anus for you to be crapped out as a dung contractor. This is Mary Omni from the House of King David. Shalom.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.